So here's a quick something that I've been loving recently. It's built into Adobe Premiere now, is the actual AI assistant, and it is really very, very useful. It's still learning how to cut clips, which I'm a bit surprised, but soon it'll be able to do razors and make its own cuts. But at the minute, as long as you've kind of gone through and chopped it up, maybe using the automatic text editor, then it can actually work its way through your timelines and pick which bits to delete, pick which bits to lift. It can reframe, it can do all kinds of different things. Some things you don't need the AI assistant for, and it kind of tells you, actually, it'll be quicker for you to do this yourself. But I am really impressed, and let's just have a little look at some of the kind of prompts that I've been working with it for. And for me, it's been really useful because what I will do is I will actually record a live stream, and then I will go through and I'll scrub through the timeline and cut out the interesting stuff. And I will put them as discrete videos just on my channel. So here's an example of a prompt that I've done. Work through the sequence, add polish, cut any repetitive bits. It's gone ahead, thought about it for a little while. There's a little list of things that it did. Here's the decisions it's made on what to cut. You can set it so that it like asks you every single action it takes if you want to confirm, or you can let it get on and do yourself. The interesting thing is that you can go ahead and work whilst it is working. So what I've been doing, I often have multiple sequences on the go. Maybe I'm cutting one project is actually going to end up into many different videos, and I can be working on one video sequence while it is actually working through and editing another. So that's pretty incredible in my opinion. And yeah, it works. And this is perhaps not the very best thing to do for flow or even productivity. What I have been also doing is doing maybe another video edit here on the big PC on my main desk, and then at the same time being able to allow it to work through some parts of my edit, actually maybe some of the monotonous parts, some parts that I just want to be done. And it makes me think, because of course this is the kind of future really of talking to your computer and saying, can you do this bit for me? And I think the more that we see this kind of AI assistant that can actually take action within the software, then the closer to that kind of Star Trek future of like, computer, do this bit for me, computer, process these numbers for me, and we'll get there. I'm absolutely certain of it. Also, it's been frustrating because it's still in beta, and that means there's like a limited number of AI prompts you can make, and then it's like try again tomorrow. So you kind of do get your flow interrupted at the minute, at least because of that. And there isn't a way to like buy more credits. And I'm sure when the real thing comes into the real version of Premiere, I'm sure that there's going to be like a charge beyond basically that number. I don't know how many it is, but I've done some quite complex tasks for it to do, asking it to make decisions on long videos, like hour-long videos, split those down into 4 separate videos that make kind of logical sense. And it's done that. It's built out new sequences based on this hour-long clip that had actually several layers of videos, like multicam sequence essentially. It's built out several different videos from this kind of one master sequence, so that's really impressive. If that costs less than actually hiring an editor, and I still get all the direction myself, then it might still be worth doing. I'm not saying that there isn't a place for excellent editors and it can't do the last pass, it can't get it to the point where you're like, yeah, totally happy with that. But what it can do is take some of those tasks off you. And it's interesting about this computer control, isn't it? Because we've got OpenClaw now, which is a big deal. I haven't tried that. It's something that I do want to put on a machine at some point and just let it do its thing and give it tasks to do that might be more or less useful. I don't know whether I would trust it to manage my YouTube channel or something like that, or manage my file systems of anything important, but I'm happy to be impressed. There's also, and I keep coming back to it, the Rabbit R1 also allows you to control a computer as well. And that works. I tried that. I asked it to sort of make a Word document for me, and it did. And you do that just by plugging that in by USB, and then you can go into the rabbit hole, or you can talk to this and give it instructions, and it can take control of your computer, which is massively impressive, really. So we're thoroughly in this next stage of AI, really, aren't we? That is the computer taking action on your behalf, and that was always the promise of this little guy, the Rabbit R1, when it first arrived. Whether it's anywhere near there or actually useful yet, I don't know, but maybe it's time to go back to it and give it another go. This agentic AI is really promising, and I've really enjoyed getting to know it and trying it out on Premiere Pro, the beta at least. And it made me think about the wider use of AI agents, and of course, Rabbit has DLAM, which allows you to control a computer by plugging in your Rabbit R1. But unfortunately, it didn't go very far, the video editing, and I found it to be, at the end of the day, it just kind of got in the way a little bit, because I would ask it to do things that I thought were quite simple, and it would go about it in a very long-winded way. And this is because I have a very straightforward workflow, and I'm sure everyone's own workflows feel quite straightforward to them. So whereas I want it just to take certain parts of my workflow away from me, when I ask it to do something within my workflow, it doesn't make sense to it. What I was thinking they ought to do in Premiere Pro going forward is have it learn the step-by-step stages that you take in a project, and then it could learn the way that you edit, and essentially, eventually it can just think, oh, I see that you're doing a editing pass, I see that you're doing a B-roll pass, I see that you're doing a music pass, I know how you do that, let me take over. That might be the way forward. And the minute it says that it's actually more useful for getting you started in the project, organizing your project into media bins, labeled B-roll, A-roll, giving them actual titles of what is actually within them, and that might well be useful to some editors. But for me, when I'm making YouTube videos, it's not as useful. It's very nice, but it's not really necessary, because the way that I manage things makes perfect sense to me anyway. Sure, a complex team project would probably benefit from that. Anyway, it got me interested, the idea of this agentic AI. And I do think that the way that Premiere are doing it, having the AI assistant within the program, knowing exactly how the program works with a more limited set of skills, is going to be better. So I decided on this little small form factor PC down here that I'd give installing OpenClaw a go. And I got it installed, I've got it all set up with an API and everything like that. Yeah, I was pretty disappointed, let's say, because I just thought, well, I'll start with something simple. Can you just go ahead and run the updates for me in Creative Cloud? And it came back with like a, well, no, not really. I'm not going to be very good at like clicking around in your computer for you. I'm going to be good at doing things that I can run in a background. It did give me a lot of confidence, because it said it's not going to try and pretend to be me. It's just not going to start sending off messages as me, things like that. But generally, it's going to be useful for creating folders, naming files, scaffolding projects. It's going to be useful for things that work with scripts, presets, file operations, rather than moving a mouse around the screen. And I just don't think, having used it, that firstly, right now, time savings are going to be useful. And I don't think the quality improvement is going to be useful either. So, okay, it's obviously very interesting. It tells you when you install that you are exploring something which is in development. It's not actually ready to go as a sort of user-facing program. It is very, very interesting. For me as a teacher, it's going to say, yeah, I can create slide decks, outlines, teaching decks, speaker notes, worksheets paired with slides, exportable materials, generate PowerPoint files, automate PowerPoint itself, make slides from markdowns or templates, can build diagrams, work examples, lesson sequences, retrieval questions, and visual explanations. So in short, really it's going to be useful what ChatGPT's actual AI chatbot is already useful for. And I guess that shouldn't surprise anyone, because you have to link it with ChatGPT's AI chatbot. So I don't know how much you're really getting it operating your machine for you, and how much you're just getting another way into the ChatGPT chat system. Cool though, I will play about with it. Oh, and the other thing which really quite surprised me is the API key. Actually, the cost per token is really high, and I think I managed about 3 successful prompts yesterday, and it charged me like $2.50 or something like that in terms of actual usage. So it's certainly not going to be a cost-effective system right now either. But you never know, I'll play about with it. Now, the last thing, just quickly try this one more time. DLAM worked for me when I tried it on my big PC, but as DLAM only wants to use one window at a time, I thought I would just use it connected to the PC here with just one screen, and hopefully it'd be better at that. Just say, welcome to DLAM, new way to control your computer with natural language, plug in your R1, I have. And I've tried with different USB ports, it's not that. but it's just not connecting correctly at all. Can you control my PC now with DLAM?
I'm sorry, but I don't have a way to control your PC.
And I've connected API keys here as well and done all that business. So that one, unfortunately, is a little bit disappointing. Let me know. I would absolutely love to hear your thoughts on all of that in the comments below. What are you using? Are you using anything like that, this agentic AI that takes action on your behalf, or are you getting anything out of large language models, or just totally avoid the whole thing entirely? For me also, the other part of my process that I'm really automating is I am taking the transcript and asking it to make the description and give me some ideas for titles, and even to make the thumbnails based on screenshots, which is just like something that is less important to me than making the actual videos. And it can do a better job than I can with Photoshop in less time. It's a no-brainer, quite frankly, and I'd rather put the time and effort into what I'm going to say to you than to producing it into a digestible format for you. But at the same time, like, video editing is largely where I get my flow from. So if the computer takes over more of that, I'll just find flow somewhere else. Like more time drawing, for example.